again, everybody, and welcome to Jason Palmer, along my crazy cousin, the coach himself, Lance C. Irvin. We celebrate the NCAA tournament. The selections have been made for the men's tournament. The women's selections will come out tonight on who is getting to go dancing, and it is March. The time went forward. I am completely out of whack. I have no idea what time it is still. There's snow all over the place. They dyed the river green the other day, and now it's all covered with snow. What can you say, Lance? Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Hey, Jay, I'll tell you what. Daylight saving time is real. Your cousin Brooklyn was shaking her head, talking about global warming when it started snowing today. And I just been sitting here thinking about the tournament and that man, Dak Prescott. I'm saying, Dak Prescott, woo-wee, that's a rich young man right now, Jay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So I'm wearing my green today. I'm wearing my green White Sox hat.
I was just going to ask you, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I'm wearing all green today. Help celebrate, St. Patrick's Day. It's basically the drinking holiday for America. That's what it is. And, everybody just be careful out there. I mean, people are slipping, crashing into one another, and that's just on the sidewalks. Ain't no telling what they're doing in the cars. So, you see some interesting stuff in Chicago around this time of year. So everybody, please celebrate, but celebrate safely. We want everybody to keep going forward. Nobody get killed or injured as you out drinking and celebrating, right?
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But
hey, man, what's that? You ain't wearing no green. What's that you wearing?
No, I got my Nike top on. Ooh, it's basketball. NCAA tournament time. Also known as NCAA tournament, Pink Slip Monday. What us coaches try to say. Ooh, Jay, right after that season, it's Pink Slips handed out. Most of us coaches dread Pink Slip Monday.
I know.
Some friends, I done been there once or twice, but you also know you're going to have friends that get, they're going to have their jobs taken away from them, and that's how they feed their families. So it's tough, especially this year, Jay, with COVID going on. Like everybody else, the student athletes got another year to come back and play. Everybody got stuff except the coaches. Coaches still got fired during COVID. But, we understand the business that we love and like so much, and we know it comes with some stuff that we might not like at that time.
I hear you, because it is a rough time of the year for people in the coaching industry, and it's definitely a lot of fires. We know of 3 so far we're going to talk about today on the show. But if this is your first time watching us on What's Up, Cuz, we welcome you to the show. If you're watching us on the Facebook live feed, if you're watching us on the YouTube live feed, or if you're watching us on the SportsZone Chicago app, welcome to What's Up, Cuz. You're going to be entertained and learn a little bit of knowledge about on tonight's show. We got some great guests coming up. And speaking of things we want you to do, download that app, that SportsZone Chicago app. It gives you access to all the great shows we have here on SportsZone Chicago. There are 3 places you can download the app, right? You can download it on Amazon. You can download it on Google iTunes or
the Google Play Store. Did you get the Amazon store too, cuz? Did you get iTunes? Did you get all of them?
I think he missed the last one, Mike.
Did you get all of them? Did you get all of them?
Did you get all of them? What you got all of them?
iTunes store, Google Play Store. You get them on SportsZone app, YouTube.
You can get them on the SportsZone app. You can get the SportsZone app. It is the iTunes store, the Google Play Store, or the Amazon store.
I said all 3 of those earlier. You looked at me like I was crazy.
Oh, we don't know what you said, but they were gonna be looking at the app for a while.
Hey, you better hold up before I talk about that article you wrote today on Facebook. Okay, ladies, you need to read Jason Palmer's article. Go to his Facebook page and read his article. Ooh, that article was fire. Make sure y'all read that article.
So let's get into some of these topics. What do you say we do that, huh?
What's up, cuz? Let's go get it.
All right, you brought it up. Let's talk about it. A-Rod and J-Lo. I don't know how much sports related this is, but A-Rod and J-Lo came out last Friday, said that they were breaking up. Then they came out the next day and said, well, no, we're going to try to work things out. I think celebrities dating is just toxic anyway. They're doing it in a very public way. But, you know, A-Rod got a history of not being faithful and having a certain type of look woman that he's attracted to, which ain't really J-Lo because she ain't no bodybuilder. But okay, fine. That's what he liked. So it does not surprise me at all that they're having trouble in their relationship and that there are rumors floating around that A-Rod was dipping out on J-Lo, which, you know, again, just goes to show you some men will dip out on anybody. But that is kind of trending. It's a hot topic right now. And they've kind of walked it back a little bit and said they're going to work things out, which means they'll break up in about 2 weeks.
That's a real hot topic, Jay. I had friends posting and I think with J-Lo, Halle Berry, those are some beautiful women. And with that being said, they go through issues just like all of us go through issues.
Mm-hmm.
And when you dealing with somebody like A-Rod, I mean, it's tough. We don't know what they was going through, but with that being said, you have to have some sort of self-control because when you somebody like that, when you both of those people, you have people coming at you that you're going to have the finest of the finest coming at you. And it's a tough situation for both of them. Hopefully they could work it out if it's meant for them to work it out. But that's tough. But they should read your article because you broke it down. You broke that thing down.
Yeah, maybe I'll send it to him on Instagram. Anyway, let's move forward. Something else going on sports news. As we celebrate Women's History Month all throughout the month of March, this is Women's History Month. The WNBA turns 25 years old this season. I can't believe it. The league is 25 years old, and they have a special logo for this.
You didn't tell me about the logo.
I
saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
New logo. Now, I can't tell who that is. Is that Diana Taurasi?
You know what, Jay? I think you might be right.
Like her with the hair bun.
That look like that has to be her, Jay, because she's one of the prominent WNBA players that wears a hair bun like that.
Yeah,
so if I was a betting man, I'll go with Diana. And
Jay, that might be her.
They can't go wrong with her because she gets baskets.
Yes, she does.
And she's been doing that for a while.
Yes,
she's
she
probably
does.
one of the top 3, 4, 5 players to ever play in the WNBA.
I agree with that.
Now,
so Diana Taurasi, you know, she been putting up numbers since high school. Yeah. Everywhere she went, she got titles. She put up numbers. She got a gold medal. She got WNBA championships. She got college championships. She can ball.
Yeah, she's big time. Her, Cynthia Cooper, Candace Parker, our girl Cappy, those young ladies put up numbers. So, I mean, that's an honor if it is her because, like you said, her games, like we say in the league or when you play, her games travel. Her game has traveled everywhere, from the pickup courts to the college court to the WNBA court to the overseas court. Her games travel. You know, Jay, you got certain players who games, they don't travel. No, she could put her game in any suitcase, and her game is going to get unpacked. No, she could play.
Okay, cool. All right, so we've got, actually, speaking of WNBA, we have poll question results from the poll question we asked last week. Remember, the poll question is sponsored by the Chicago Crusader newspaper. They are our partner in this endeavor. You can visit them at www.chicagocrusader.com.
You know what, Jay? Let me add this too real quick before we really get started. I want everybody to pray for our man, Kenny McReynolds, who's going through another round of cancer treatments. You know, Kenny has been dealing with different bouts of cancer. So I just talked to him this weekend. He said he's doing better. So we want everybody to pray and think about our friend of the show, Kenny McReynolds.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. I was not aware of that. Thank you for bringing that out. Yeah, he's definitely a friend of the show and a good mentor of mine. So yeah, we wish Kenny Mac the best. So our poll question last week, we asked, and it was a tough question. Who is the greatest women's basketball player out of the Chicago area? Woo! We had some nominees in this one. We had Cappy Pondexter, Tamika Catchings, Yolanda Griffith, or Candace Parker. Those were your 4 choices. And here were our results. Candace Parker pulls it out. Candace Parker, followed by Cappy Pondexter, Tamika Catchings, and then Yolanda Griffith. All right, so Candace gets the nod. But, like we had said last week, you can't go wrong with none of them four.
Hey, either one of those young ladies that you picked, or you were getting a player. I thought that Yo-Yo, Yolanda Griffin, a.k.a. Yo-Yo, can flat out play. I thought she was undervalued when she played because she could do everything. She could score, she could post up, she could shoot. But, how can you go against Candace Parker? I'm a huge Cappy fan, but you couldn't go wrong with either young lady that you picked because Candace Parker is a walking basket too now, and she has size too. So you can't go wrong with that size. Oh, Tamika's number 2, huh? I heard that, David. But no, you couldn't go wrong with either young lady that you picked, and that's a heck of a squad right there.
Yeah, without a doubt. So that was the result of our poll question. We also going to have a new segment that we are previewing here in a couple of minutes. It's called Jump Ball, and we will explain it as we get ready to bring that segment on. But let's hit another couple of our opening topics here. The Blackhawks been in a little tough stretch. They're playing some really good teams right now. They play tonight. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. Chicago time. They're down in Sunrise, Florida against the Florida Panthers, playing against our old coach, Joel Quinville, and his squad, who are at the top of the conference, if I'm not mistaken. So that's coming up. They're in a little tough stretch right now. But let's talk a little bit about some of this other news in college basketball. As we were getting ready to come on earlier, we got word that Gino Auriemma, the head coach of the UConn women's basketball team, has tested positive for COVID. He has been in isolation the past few days and has not had contact with any of his players. As we mentioned earlier, the women's selection show takes place tonight at 7. And then they're scheduled to play kind of, at the end of
start on Sunday.
Yeah.
The
Sunday.
game start, they are in San Antonio and it starts Sunday. So let's say prayers for Coach Gino. But with that being said, Jay, it's tough. Like we said, we want everybody to stay safe, but he's in isolation right now and the tournament starts Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna get a number 1 seed. They'll probably play a 16th seed.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how long the CDC is gonna make them sit out. How long the NC2A gonna give them to sit out. It was 10 to 14 days. I'm not sure how many days they giving them, but if they play Sunday, I'm sure they won't play again until like Tuesday, Wednesday. So that will probably give them enough time to get back with this team.
I hope so, man. It's got to be really rough for coaches, for players, for all the staff, the managers. It's a whole production of people. It's not just the players and 1 or 2 coaches. It's a lot of people that travel with these teams, from the trainers to the equipment managers and all the assistant coaches, and sometimes the athletic directors go. So we just hoping everybody can be safe. And Coach Gino, I'm sure he's got a pretty good squad as always with a bunch of assistant coaches. So I'm sure they will step in.
Loaded. And his associate head coach, Coach Chris, I can't think of her last name, but she is very good. She's been with him for about 25 years plus. So she recruited Diana Taurasi, was instrumental in getting her to go there. So his coaching staff is top flight. But Jay, they talked about, I have friends on the male side, and they said it's, the traveling parties is 32. And they've been on lockdown in Indianapolis starting early this morning. Once you get into the facility and into the hotel, they're not letting you come out.
Wow.
So you have to stay with your team. Every team has a floor for themselves. I think I heard that each player has their own room. So they serious about this. So you ride the elevator with your own team members. There's no going outside. Once you in, and that's it. Till the tournament is over.
Well, here's the funny thing. I was actually supposed to be going to Bloomington this weekend.
So you're not going?
Well, the hotels are going to be all gone. And even if I can find something, it's probably going to be $855 a night.
Yeah,
so I was like,
get theirs. Mm-hmm.
Right, because they're going to get there. So I was like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be going down there for some business. But I think I may be pushing that back another week or 2 because I ain't paying them hotel prices. So, and they probably wouldn't let me in anyway because they got to create that bubble environment,
But here go the thing, though, Jay. Everybody is staying in Indianapolis from what I heard.
Mhm.
So all the teams staying in Indianapolis, and they busting down to like Bloomington the day of the game.
Okay.
Something like that. So you could probably get your hotel room.
So maybe I can. Well,
Yeah,
I might
you
have.
probably
I still might have to deal with the crazy fan base though.
Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that because I think
Right. They gonna charge them. So
because they letting fans in too now.
Yeah,
They're not gonna have a sellout, but they letting a certain number of
Yeah.
fans in. I think it's like a couple of thousand
Gotcha.
per session. So I think it's between 2,000 to 3,000 per session.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let's get to our new segment that we are premiering for tonight's show.
Goodness.
And this is going to actually involve our viewers as well. We need you all to chime in. Go ahead and write in the comments when we get this game going. So this new segment is called Jump Ball. All right, it's a jump ball where Lance and I are going to go for the tip. And the way this works is there's a question that's going to be asked. Lance has one position on it. I have another position on it. We both have 60 seconds to present our case. And then our viewers are going to chime in and let us know who they think is correct in this situation. I mean, we've been arguing since we were kids, so we figured we might as well.
And I'm not scared of you because you're a journalist. You're a big-time journalist. So I'm not scared of you. Bring it on.
So that's how this is going to work. So what has happened, Maya will post the question, and then you know what? I'm going to let you go first because you're older.
Why I have to go first? Come on, man. Just bring it on. I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
You will have 60 seconds to make your point, and I will have 60 seconds to make my point. And Maya will let us know when we are ready to begin. Are you just going to post it, Maya? And then we just go? Or is someone reading the question? It is new, folks, so we're going to work this out. Oh, all right, it's scrolling, I think. Can you read that? You know he got bad eyes, Maya. You probably need to read it for us.
All right, fellas, let me help you out with this. The question for Jump Ball is, should athletes, coaches, and referees participating in the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament be considered essential workers and given the COVID-19 vaccine? So that is the first question for Jump Ball. Fellas, are you both respectfully ready? I am setting the timer. Jason, you are off screen, and as it goes now, Lance, your clock is active. Go.
You know what, Maya? I'm going to say no. And the reason why I'm going to say no is this. Because we still have school teachers that haven't had the vaccine yet. We still have some elderly that haven't had their vaccine yet. And I just feel some type of way without that part of the population getting the vaccine first. Plus, I'm also still concerned about our Black and brown people in our community that haven't been vaccinated yet. I know the NCAA tournament is big. I know it's a lot of money out there. I know it's a lot of hoopla. I'm ready for the tournament. But with that being said, I can't in my heart of hearts skip over those that need the vaccine. And we also have people with pre-existing conditions that still need the vaccine. So I think I bring up some interesting points.
20 seconds left.
I have 20 seconds. Don't worry about it. I could go all day. So now from a basketball standpoint, I understand it's entertainment, but we're talking about lives being saved.
Time's up.
So we still need.
Time's up. Stop talking. Stop talking. Your time is up. Your time is up. Lance,
you
Irvin.
just don't like me. You just don't like me.
The clock don't lie. It was 60 seconds. So with that being said, you go off screen and Jason gets to come up for his respectful argument. Goodbye, Lance. All right, Jason.
Yes.
As we know, the question as it stands, I'll repeat it for you as you know they do as good talk show hosts.
Okay.
Should athletes, coaches, and referees participating in the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament be considered essential workers? And given the COVID-19 vaccine, that is the question. Your 60 seconds begins now.
They should absolutely be given the vaccine. This is a business. I understand where Lance Irvin is coming from, but he's taking a sentimental approach. There are billions of dollars on the line here, people. People are flying out to Las Vegas like crazy to throw in bets. They're betting all over the world on this damn tournament. It's about money. Let's not get sentimental now. If we were caring about the people, they would have never been playing no way. You didn't decide to go ahead and play this silly tournament. We got people getting sick. We got coaches getting sick. They technically are essential workers because this is a big part of the economy. You got them out there playing. Well, you might as well give them the shot so that they're doing it safely. Because the other thing is, if you don't give them the shot, they're all out there together in the bubble. If something breaks out of the bubble, you now have a super spreader event right there in the bubble. We've got enough vaccine now, thanks to this new administration. So we got enough to spare. There are people who are on the list that ain't even getting the damn shot. So
10 seconds.
Give them the shot. Let's just quit playing around with this thing so nobody is sick, and then it don't screw up my bracket.
Time's up. All right. There you have it. You guys.
I have my own clock too, Maya. Just so I don't bust this show.
No, stop right there, Mike. It takes 2 weeks for the shots to get in. What is this young fella talking about? What, you going to give him the Johnson & Johnson shot?
Yes, but I didn't get enough time to say that.
Have either one of, so as our viewers are kind of, they're getting ready for their comments, here's a question I would have posed to both of you in this.
Okay.
Why does the tournament matter? Because everybody was outside of a bubble, had conference tournaments, which means you've already been touchy-feely with each other. So why would it matter now? Did anybody actually consider that?
Well, Maya, a lot of
because if you're already been exposed, guess what? You've probably already been exposed.
And they got kicked, and they kicked them out the bubble once they were exposed. But you know, Maya, like a lot of the teams, they were getting tested every day in their conference tournaments. So they just stayed where they were. The teams that knew they was going stayed where they were. They continued to get tested, and they went straight to Indy. Like Oklahoma State, they played in the championship game of the Big 12 in Kansas City. They got on the chart and went straight to Indy. Cleveland State, Dennis Gates, he been in Indianapolis for about a week and a half now.
All right, so let's go to what listeners are posting. Let's start with David Simon, who has probably been the #1 fan of the show right now with his comments. He said 6 D-men college basketball officials have just dropped from the tourney. 1 tested positive, and the others were out eating dinner with him.
Ooh, that's contact tracing, isn't it, Jay? You the official. Speak up for the officials, Jay. I want to hear this.
Well, I mean, I don't. That's new information to me. I can see it because when we travel like that, especially for a tournament like this, they are traveling kind of like as a crew and as a group. To try to, they've been trying to keep people in the areas where they live. So it's not surprising. I mean, we're not immune to the things. People are going to test positive. But again, it just kind of makes my point that, what happens if the referee crew goes down all of a sudden?
So, David, great comment, but I need you to cast a vote. So I'm going to come back to you. We've got Lisa Carol Foster, who said, Lance won. Lisa, we don't do charity here on What's Up Buzz. We don't do charity around here. You don't have to make Lance feel good. Anyways, Lance, you've got 1. All right, we're going to Kevin D. Williams. He agrees with Jason. Protect the kids. Don't make it a super spreader event. Basketball tourney. So now we're 1-1. All right. All right.
I want to hear what Maya's gonna say.
Wait. I'm listening.
He's reading the viewers.
I'm reading the viewers. Yes, David Simon, it is contact tracing, but I need you. You might be the deciding vote at this point, so I need you. And matter of fact, maybe we'll bring on upcoming new producer Greg. Maybe we'll throw him in here for a little extra comments too.
Bring him on out here.
All right. Who else got comments? Post them comments.
Kenny Mack, post your comment. Kenny Mack just logged on. I want to hear what Kenny Mack on.
So I'm going to repost the question again. For everybody who just jumped on, the question says in this segment: should the athletes, coaches, and referees participating in the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament be considered essential workers and given the COVID-19 vaccine? So Jason was saying, hey, what's your stance, Jason?
Of course they should.
Okay, they should be considered essential workers. And Lance, you said?
No way. That's
now, mind you, people, what's interesting about this is you have an official and a coach on opposite ends of the argument, which is
as usual.
You know what?
Just saying on this.
I'm going to ask Steve Bartle. We're going to ask our guests. We're going to ask our guests. I'm going to win this game.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
Yes, the viewers too.
Really quickly. Lisa Carol Foster might get disqualified because she's family voting. She says she's your cousin.
She voted for my side.
She voted for me.
I don't know.
She's smart. Lisa's smart.
I don't know. No, we'll let it stand.
Lisa's smart.
All right.
He used Las Vegas.
Okay. Michael Berger logged in. He said Lance won. So what do we got here?
Thank you.
We got 2-1.
Yeah.
Oh, David Simon says he's waffling. He's got to think about it. Come on, man. Put it down. Just you know how you feel about this. Either you
remember that when we got to go golfing, Dave.
See, listen to what Michael Berger said. He sounds like a smart guy.
All right, he stopped waffling because because it's not IHOP. He came out with an answer. I'm going to say they are not essential workers.
But let me say this, Jason. I'm gonna throw you a crumb here.
That's 3-1. Yeah,
I'm gonna throw you a crumb, Jay. You remember when North Carolina they had all those COVID cases down there, and they let everyone go home, all the kids go home except the student athletes, and one of the players said they might as well say we're essential workers because they telling us we have to stay. So I'm throwing you a little crumb. I'm not saying you want no, but they're not getting a vaccine before everybody. Stop it.
Well, they're not essential workers. Wow, look at that. It looks like Lance kind of took the lead on this. I'm gonna be the devil advocate and say, you know why you can just go ahead and don't dance. Don't dance. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate and ignorant at the same time and just say, go ahead and vaccine the kids because most of them black anyway, so we cover 2 paces at one time. So how about that?
Since there's a disproportionate community aspect to this whole vaccine.
Guess what? You just vaccinated a whole bunch of black people. So guess what? It's like you're getting 2 things covered. You're keeping the game safe and you're getting more black people vaccinated.
Let me also say this.
And wait a minute. And then maybe you can get them to say, I got vaccinated, guys. Michigan, we got vaccinated. We got you guys. We need to lead the charge. Get vaccinated. It's a whole nother spin that you could put on trying to get people like rep your school. Go get vaccinated.
Because my gut is saying that some of these schools, they're going to have the students get vaccinated before they let them come back to campus.
Because I already know everybody in Iowa ain't going to get vaccinated because they're ignorant. So I already know that we fall real short because Iowa's a real bad state for that kind of stuff. So I already know that Iowa, there'll be no appeal for getting vaccinated.
Oh, God.
No, but you know, my gut is saying that a lot of these universities, they're going to make everybody get vaccinated, or most of them. They're going to throw that out there.
All right. Think? Well, guys, that time flew kind of fast. We are literally at the bottom of the hour, and we have a guest that's going to be coming on, but so we got to take a break. So I don't know. You want to bring Joseph on and he gives his insight on this quickly?
Yeah. Why not? We got our man.
All right.
Joe here. Bring him on. Joseph Phillips from the Chicago Crusader newspaper. What's up, Joe? How you doing, brother?
What's up, cuz? What's up, guys?
What's up, cuz? What's up, Stadium Dropping?
This daylight saving got me crazy, bro. I was just like, wait up. I'm looking outside. I'm like, wait up, man. It's what time is it?
Like, I'm supposed to be on What's Up, cuz right now.
All right. So before, because this whole segment is a great segment and it kind of took a life of its own. So it's called Jump, where the 2 of them take a vote on the question. So for you, Joseph, should athletes, coaches, and referees participating in the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament be considered essential workers and given the COVID-19 vaccination?
Well, I think they should have options. They should have a choice. You know, it shouldn't be forced on it. It shouldn't be mandated. You know, but as you know, they're not trying to force a lot of people to do it. But I guess the vaccine has a reaction to different people's bodies. You know.
So okay.
So I was just saying, like, it all depends on the person's. You know.
Come on, Joseph. Yes or no? So Sean is riding with Jason. Sean's now we got 3-2. So come on, maybe you can be the tiebreaker, and maybe we can throw this at Steven. So come on.
Well, I'm totally against the vaccine. So
you ride with Lance.
Yeah.
QAnon Joe. QAnon Joe.
QAnon Joe. That's a smart guy right there. He picked the right team. That's why I'm fool with you.
I ain't putting baby feet in my body, so they can kiss that goodbye.
So what are we tied here?
Lance won 4-2 because of this.
No, 4-3. No, you picked up one. So okay.
No.
Well, you know what? I didn't vote in this. I'm gonna let this kind of keep rolling.
Let's keep rolling.
We'll keep bringing this up through the show. We'll let it get some traction through the show. We'll bring it up again, during the show. All right.
You want to talk to Joe real quick?
Go ahead, talk to Joe.
So Joe, real quick, what you working on this week for the Chicago Crusader newspaper?
Well, we're going to talk about that wonderful win by the Fighting Illini that took place on yesterday against the Ohio State University. They are the Big Ten, the real Big Ten champs. No offense to Juwan Howard, but I always thought the Fighting Illini were the real champs. And then last but not least, I'll be talking about that Bulls win, and hopefully, man, the Bears can get them a quarterback this week.
Hey, let me ask you this, Joseph. What are our quarterback options? Marcus Mariota. I mean, I'm gonna start thinking real, kind of like Jason said. I'm gonna say Russell Wilson is out because we got to give up the farm. Who are we gonna get? Somebody like? Should I start thinking Jay? Should I start thinking Andy Dalton? Should I start thinking Jameis Winston?
I mean, Sean still think Russell Wilson coming. I don't see that. You know, you may get Sam Darnold. You might get Mitchell.
I mean,
Don't do it.
I'm saying we're not. I don't see Russell Wilson. I just don't see it. After reading and listening, we give up 15 draft picks. I mean, come on, we did that for Cutler, I think. I mean, come on. So I'm thinking Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, somebody like that. I mean, I don't know. Russell Wilson, I mean, I'm tired of getting my feelings hurt.
Yeah, well, I can probably say this. It's probably a black quarterback, but it probably won't be Wilson or Deshaun Watson.
Wow.
They're going to probably end that streak of not having a black quarterback in that backfield, man. But
that's real vague, Joe. That could be Henry Burris again.
Taylor.
It could be the return. It could be the return of Cordell Stewart, a.k.a.
Wow. Well, we'll see. So I got Joseph. He's checking in, even though it's daylight savings time threw him off a little bit. That's all right. It threw him.
I know, man. Sorry about that.
Tell everybody where they can find you, Joe.
All right, you guys can please check us out at ChicagoCrusader.com. Last thing I wanted to add, I'm doing a piece on the first African American firm to own a golf course in University Park Village. So yeah, I'm doing a piece on that too. So
nice.
We'll be out there.
Very nice.
We need to get them on the show.
It's a lady. Yes, it's a lady.
All right, hook us up, Joe. You know, just like you did with Maurice Cheeks.
Hey, you heard of Mo Cheeks. Now you can say no cheeks because I ain't.
I hear you. All right, Joe, thanks a lot. We're going to get to our first commercial break. Coming right up from the Big Ten Network, our good buddy, Stephen Bardo. We're going to talk Illinois and Ohio State game, and we're going to talk about this tournament. And oh, my God, what's coming up? You're watching What's Up, Cuz. We'll be back in a few minutes.
What up, cuz? Jason Palmer, you okay, buddy?
I am. We are back. Oh, what's up, cuz? Sorry about that. I had to move a little technical stuff around here real quick. Well, welcome back to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Irvin. And let's get right to it. We got a great guest coming on. He is Illinois basketball royalty. Why? Because he was part of Flyin the Lion Line, man. Everybody know about them teams, man. And now he's doing broadcasting stuff, so he gets to see all the teams from the Big Ten. Oh, my God, the Big Ten. Boy, did they have a season this year in men's basketball. I mean, it was up for grabs all the way to the end. You had the great championship game yesterday, and then they got all these teams in the tournament. I mean, anybody can win this thing. Our good buddy, Stephen Bardo is here. What's up, Steve? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, fellas. How about yourselves?
Man, we doing good. I'm happy to get Bardo Breakdown, Steve Bardo. And Steve, there's no other. Hey, y'all need to watch Bardo Breakdown, too. Steve breaks the game down. Hey, Steve, you should call that basketball one-on-one. I sit there and listen to you. First, thanks for being on, but I sit there and listen to you sometimes. I'm like, even when you're doing games on TV, I'm like, Steve breaking that thing down. Like, I think he was talking about icing the ball screen the other day and some more stuff. I'm like, if you don't understand basketball, Steve's going to help you understand the game. So thanks for being on, Steve. I appreciate you.
Oh, come on, Coach. You know how far we go back. I ain't going to tell the audience because they'll date us. But, oh, man, anything for you. And I appreciate those words. And, you know, I try to edutainment. I got that from KRS-One. Edutainment, educated, entertained. So I don't take myself too seriously on the air because I'm not covering something serious like murders or economy or nothing. We're talking about a game. And it's serious, but we're talking about a game. So I want to be educational and entertaining.
Steve, let me just ask you, that game yesterday, I mean, could they have asked for a better, more exciting Big Ten championship game? And what did you think of both teams' performances?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. And to culminate a season of a historic conference, because statistically, according to Ken Palm, who is the leader in advanced stats, analytics, he says that this Big Ten conference is the best conference since they've been keeping advanced analytics. And that's, I believe, 1992. So the Big Ten was a monster all year long. And for the conference title in the tournament to end in an overtime game was fantastic. And I want to allow our viewers to understand Ohio State is for real. They did not have one of their starters in the game. Kyle Young is very physical. He would have been handling Kofi Coburn for a majority of the game. And so for Ohio State to force an overtime against the second-ranked team in the country, maybe one of the hottest teams in the country, that was quite a show and quite a culmination of a heck of a college, heck of a Big Ten conference slate.
You know, I think that's interesting you say that because earlier when we were having our show a few months ago, Kendall Gill was on, and Kendall had even said too that he thought Ohio State was going to be a team that could really give Illinois a hell of a run. And, you know, the two teams split. If I'm not mistaken, didn't they split, or were they 1-1 in the regular season? Yeah.
They were 1-1 in the regular season, and then that was kind of the tiebreaker. But I have a feeling they're going to see each other in the Final Four.
I do too, Stephen. I do too, Stephen. We're going to talk about our brackets later on. Lance, you got a question for Steve?
Steve, no, I do, Steve. Now, I think out of all the teams that got picked, I think it seems like everybody in the league almost got picked. The Big Ten had 9 teams get picked. I think Michigan maybe as a number 1 seed got the hardest bracket. What's your thoughts on that? Because I see your Florida State team down there. Alabama is loaded.
Yep.
So I think they probably got one of the hardest brackets. What's your thought on Michigan getting one of the toughest brackets I think out there? Because like I said, UConn, Texas, BYU, that bracket is tough.
That bracket is tough, Lance. And I agree with you because, you know, I would pick Michigan to get to the Final Four because they look dominant until Illinois put their foot in that behind in Ann Arbor and showed them like, okay, Illinois is for real. But when Michigan loses Isaiah Livers, he's out indefinitely with a stress fracture in his foot. He's a dynamic scorer. And the funny thing is, when he's not playing, Michigan is not as dynamic offensively as they've looked all season. So it's kind of an indication of how important Isaiah Livers is to what Michigan does on a night-to-night basis. They fought hard against Ohio State in the semifinal game. They came up a little bit short. And so I think I really like Texas out of that region. I think Texas nobody's really talking about them. Jericho Sims is one of the most athletic bigs you're going to see. Coleman and Jones are outstanding guards, and they come out of the battle-tested Big 12. In terms of top-heavy, the Big 12 can compete with the Big 10. The Big 12 wasn't as top-to-bottom as tough as the Big 10, but those top teams are as competitive as the Big 10. And so I think Texas could come out of there. And if Isaiah Livers is not playing with Michigan in what I think would be a Sweet 16 matchup against Florida State, I don't think they're dynamic enough to get past Leonard Hamilton's crew. So that's why I agree with you. That that region that Michigan has is a gauntlet. I mean, all of them have landmines in them for the #1 seeds, but I think Michigan probably has the most, in my opinion.
And one thing, Steve, you just said about Texas with Ramey, Sims, Coleman, that backcourt is for real.
Yes.
And like you said, and with Sims, he can run, he's athletic. That's a good team right there. So I do agree with you on that. But let's talk about some of the other teams in the tournament, Steve, like a team like Wisconsin, per se. I know they end up losing, I think, like 2 out of their last 4 games down the stretch. And I think they played Carolina in the first round. Are you worried about Wisconsin going up against Carolina? Because you know Carolina front court with Sharp and those guys. That front court is lethal too. So what you think about Wisconsin?
You know, guys, a lot of people don't know this, but the starting 5 at Wisconsin, before the Chicago Bulls put Kobe White and Wendell Jr. on the bench, I think they're bringing them off the bench now, but when they were starting, the starting 5 of Wisconsin was older than the starting 5 of the Chicago Bulls. These dudes are old. And I think, Coach, you know this, I think they got bored down the stretch. You know, they got one eye looking at where they're going next. What's my career going to look like? I'm not coming back next year. I'm not taking the extra year of eligibility that's offered because I'm tired of being in Madison. I think they got bored down the stretch. But what can happen is now you get outside the league, as the Big Ten scouts opponents as well as any conference in the country.
True.
So when you get outside the league, you get a breath of fresh air. And teams like North Carolina get frustrated by teams like Wisconsin that are physical, that can slow you down, that can take the pace of the game. North Carolina wants to get up and down. They want to beat you up on the offensive glass. Wisconsin can slow you down, make you play in a more half-court situation, and they're not going to get run over. They're not just going to get bullied off the court. So I actually have Wisconsin beating North Carolina and meeting Baylor in a second-round matchup, which I'm not saying Wisconsin's going to win flat out, but if Wisconsin were to beat Baylor in that second-round matchup, I would not be surprised.
I mean, Steve, one thing about Wisconsin with Trice, Potter, and those guys, you know, they have a team that can shoot a little bit too. Like you said, I didn't know they was that old, and I think you know better than I do. With a physical team with good guard play, you could do something now. And like you said, everybody wants to get old. But with that team, Steve, I didn't know they were that old. So
Dimitri Trice is 24. Brad Davison is 23. Micah Potter is 21. Nate Reavers is 23. And there was another one. Aline Ford is like 22 or 23.
And I love Ford.
Yeah,
these
dudes are old, man. And I think they got bored down the stretch, Coach. I mean, I'm on your show, so I can give you some insight. I think Micah Potter has been a guy that's not necessarily a locker room guy like most Wisconsin guys are that will buy in a little bit. He's been a little bit of a rough feather for them, kind of a guy that's doesn't necessarily, buy in all the time, but he's super talented and strong. And so I think if they can get on the same page, I believe they can beat North Carolina. And I think they could throw a scare into Baylor.
Once again, being joined by Stephen Bardo. He's Illinois royalty here when it comes to basketball. We got a question from one of our viewers, Stephen, for you. Stephen, what did OSU do so well to limit Io from getting into the lane yesterday?
Ohio State is really good defensively, and they're undersized. So when you're going against an undersized ball club, they can shift, they can move, they can get into gaps defensively quicker than a traditional team that has a little bit more size. So Ohio State, they jump on Io's left hand. I mean, on his right hand, because before this season, Io couldn't wipe his behind with his left hand. He couldn't do nothing with his left. Now, he's worked on it a lot, and he's gotten a little bit better at it. But he's still a right-hand dominant guy. So if you go back and watch the Ohio State game, Io kept trying to get right. Ohio State was sitting on his right hand, forcing him to go left. And I think that's one of the things. And Chris Holtman is a damn good coach. He's one of the best coaches in college basketball. That dude can game plan and adjust on the fly as well as anybody. And I think, anytime you have an All-American guard, you're going to load up against them. And Ohio State does as good a job defending Illinois as any team probably in the country.
One thing you just talked about, Steve, was the scouting and the coaching. And that's one thing I noticed during the game. I think I told Nick and Mike that. I said, man, they giving him the left a little bit. They want him to go that way, but I thought he was heavy going to his right.
Yep.
And if you play a kid 6, 7, 8 times, and man, they gonna scout you. So from time to time, you're gonna have to do something else. But let me ask you about my sleeper team in the Big Ten, Steve Bardo, and that would be Rutgers. What's your thought on Rutgers with Ron Harper Jr.? You got Michael Young out there, Ray Young, excuse me. I think they're a really good team. Can Rutgers win a game or two in the NCAA tournament?
You know what, Lance? They could, but they're so mercurial. They're so up and down that, you just don't know which Rutgers team you're going to get. Ron Harper Jr. is one of the dynamic scorers in all of college basketball. But, man, he had a stretch in the Big Ten where this cat couldn't hit a layup. He couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. And so you just don't know which Rutgers team you're going to get. And why I moved on you guys, I want to get my bracket. I believe they can beat Clemson, but they will not beat Houston. Houston is for real, y'all. I got Houston meeting Illinois in the Elite Eight. So I don't see Rutgers getting past that little quad of theirs because they can beat Clemson, but I don't see them being able to beat Houston because Cleveland State's going to throw a scare into Houston. Our homeboy Dennis Gates doing that thing in Cleveland State, probably going to get a heavy look at the DePaul situation. Would you agree, Lance?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. He should get a heavy look because what he has done in 2 years has been amazing. And he has his team playing hard. And like you said, I think that in Houston would be a good first-round matchup. And one thing you just said, not trying to jump over the brackets, but that Illinois-Houston game, Steve, that scares me. And this is the reason why I'm scared. It scares me, and I'm not trying to take over, Jay. Houston guards with Giroux, Sasser, and Grimes. They are really physical. And sometimes it's been noted that physical play a little bit against U of I. I think that's kind of been a kryptonite a little bit. So how physical Houston is. And that's one question I was going to ask you, Steve. What's your thoughts if it comes to the Houston-Illinois matchup?
Well, here's my thing. Kofi Cockburn, I don't know if there's another Kofi Cockburn in the country. And so what Illinois has figured out, I think, in late here, Lance, and why they're playing so much better, Kofi eliminates a lot of pressure. And so guys can get up into Io, guys can get up, they can try to get up into Corbello, but they get that lingerie get left on the deck. That boy can play.
He's real good.
He can play. And so when you try to press up on the Illinois guards, what they figured out is Kofi is a pressure breaker. And so Houston is long and physical, but they have no one to match up with Kofi Cockburn. They're going to have to double and fly around and switch. So I think that's the key for Illinois. Take care of the basketball against Houston and get the ball, pound the ball inside as much as possible. Because like you're saying, that Kelvin Sampson is a defensive mastermind as a coach. He has his guys playing elite level defense. They're physical and they come downhill on you. But as long as Kofi is not in foul trouble, if he can stay out of foul trouble and be effective in the paint, I think he's the key difference in the matchup if Illinois were to meet Houston in the Elite Eight.
Steven, let's talk about another Big Ten team, which I think is going to surprise a lot of people wanting to get into this tournament. And they're playing against in the region with the top speed in the entire tournament, Gonzaga. But what about them Iowa Hawkeyes? What are you looking for them in this tournament run? Is they obviously have the Big Ten Player of the Year back-to-back years in guards.
Well, Iowa, the thing that makes Iowa dangerous now is that they're actually trying to play defense. They never really tried to play defense before. I don't know what it was about Fran McCaffrey's group, but this particular group, they just would never play D. But now they're actually trying to play defense. And so when you put a team that can be an average defensive team with an elite offensive team, that's a dangerous squad. And what Iowa does, they keep coming at you. They come at you. And what happens, I'm just going to kick it real because Lance is my boy.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is you walk in and you look at Iowa because they got some lighter complexion cats on the floor. And you think, oh, yeah, they not like that. And then what those lighter complexion cats do to you, they space you out, they bang the three, they run like their lives depend on it, and they get the ball into Garza, who, unless you double team him, he's going to bust you for 30-10 every night.
Thank you, Stephen, because Lance was hoping, I'm a Hawkeye, and Lance was hoping that you were going to say something entirely different. Everybody likes to give me grief about Iowa, and they're like, did Garza really deserve being player of the year over Io?
Yes.
And I said, I'm done. Mic drop. I'm out.
So our producer has asked the question we were going to ask, and Stephen has answered it. So, all right, very well. Let's go on to our next question. So let me ask you about Gonzaga, period. Undefeated so far. If they run the tables here, they would be the first team since like 1976 or something to win the whole thing and have an undefeated season. They seem to be the favorite on a lot of people. Where do you have Gonzaga?
I have Gonzaga playing Illinois in the championship and Illinois cutting down the nets.
Ooh.
So I've got Gonzaga beating Iowa in the Elite Eight. I've got Gonzaga beating Texas in the Final Four and losing to Illinois in the championship. Now, here's why I say this, because people are thinking like, oh, you homer, you this, that. 1989, we were number one seed in the Midwest. We got to the Final Four, lost in the last second shot. 2005, they're number one seed in the Midwest. They get to the national title game on the last possession. Luther Head hits a three. Illinois is national champions. They're not. North Carolina's national champion. 2020 or 2021, number one seed in the Midwest region. The next thing is to cut down the nets. And they got the best 1-2 punch in the country. Kofi Cockburn would have been Big Ten Player of the Year if you take Io and Luka out of this league this year. He would have been top player in the Big Ten because he's the first player since Blake Griffin in major college basketball to average the numbers he did. At least 16 points, at least 9 rebounds, and effective field goal percentage of 63%. That has not happened at the Power 5 level since Blake Griffin. So this kid is a monster. And I think that with Io and him, Curbelo, the seniors, Trent Frazier and DeMonte Williams are playing their tails off. And Ace Wolf from the crib. I mean, they got Georgie Bashanis-Veely saved Illinois yesterday.
They saved them.
Saved them.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So they got depth. I didn't even mention Jacob Granderson, who's been probably the X factor in the Illini down the stretch. So, I know people think I'm crazy because I'm picking Illinois to win the national championship, but I'm believing with this. MGM looked at the money this morning. Illinois got the most money on them than anybody in the country. And I'm going to just drop the mic on that.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's real interesting. So let me ask you this. The games, as we all know, all being played in Indiana due to the COVID situation. There will be some fans available. I'm expecting just a bunch of people to descend on Indianapolis anyway, even though they can't get in the game, Steve. What do you think that's going to do in terms of how that's going to play out as the tournament goes on? Because we know fans really have a lot to do with the game when they can give that energy in the stadium.
I can't say it better than you just said it. When we were calling games in the Big Ten Conference Tournament, it was so nice to hear fans cheering and booing and talking smack and high-fiving each other. We got a chance to meet with the parents, go and hug Kwame Dean and Frank Garza and Trent Buttrick's father from Penn State, Tony Buttrick. I took the fans for granted. I'll never do it again. To just have a little bit, because the ambiance and the energy is unlike anything you've ever seen. You got to remember, guys, 90% of the games I called were from a studio this year. I wasn't on site most of the time. And when I was on site, there were no fans in the stands. So when you've got fans in the stands, it changes everything. And I think it's going to be wonderful. I think the players will embrace it because they've been playing without fans all season long. I think it's going to be high-level basketball, very, very entertaining.
Steve, let's talk about Michigan State. I cannot talk about an Izzo team. I know they play USC, I think, in the first 4 one of those games.
UCLA. Yep.
Yeah, UCLA. How has Michigan State been recently? What's your thoughts on the Sparty?
Michigan State has been affected by COVID definitely more than any team in the Big Ten, but they might have had more issues with COVID than any team in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And what you saw when they made that run, when they beat Michigan, they beat Illinois, they beat Ohio State, they had to have those games. That was all Tom Izzo. I'm sorry. Joshua Langford can play. Aaron Henry can ball. I think he's a future pro. That was all Tom Izzo. And so what Tom told us when we were calling one of his games in January, he said, I've got to take it easy on these guys. I can't be my normal self because they're coming all COVID. And Tom Izzo himself had COVID. Mm-hmm. And he said it is no punk. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about kids who are young people, I should say, who are trying to be elite in the top conference in the country. They lose conditioning. You have after effects. You have dry coughs. You have headaches. There's so many different things that this team went through. Dwayne Stevens lost his dad.
I know that.
Dane Feist's mom almost passed away, I believe. I mean, they were seriously hit by COVID. So it's been an emotional roller coaster. They didn't fare well in the Big Ten Conference tournament, bowed out early. But I have a feeling you're going to see a resurrection. And I'm looking for them on this list here because I've got Michigan State beating I got them beating UCLA, but I've got them winning the second round matchup.
Against BYU?
Yes, against BYU. BYU's a solid team. Matt Harms, 7'3" center that used to be at Purdue. Yeah. He's at BYU now. BYU's a good team, but I think you're going to see some Tom Izzo magic in that second round matchup. I like Michigan State to advance on that. Now, getting past that, I don't have them going past there, but I have them putting getting past that playing game because I think they're going to be a little bit embarrassed. And then I think they're going to beat BYU.
BYU is well coached too. My last Big Ten team, Steve, we haven't talked about, we got to talk about Purdue with Big Zach Edey, Thompson, and my man T. Williams. I mean, how can Purdue fare? Because they're a solid basketball team, and they came in like 4th place this year, and I was shocked they came in 4th. What's your thoughts on Purdue real quick?
Look, I'm so happy Juwan Howard got Big Ten Coach of the Year. I don't know what to do. However, if you really look at the body of work and the fact that Matt Painter had 5 freshmen in his top 8 to 9 rotation, and they got 4th in this league, that dude can coach. And I actually put that up on a graphic one time. I'm going to share this story with y'all. So I'm calling Rutgers at Northwestern late in the regular season. Okay. And I say, when I put the graphic up, I had Io as player of the year in the Big Ten. Hunter Dickinson is freshman of the year from Michigan. Miles Johnson, defensive player of the year from Rutgers. And I had Matt Painter as head coach. Now, before they put the graphic up, I said, look, Juwan Howard's going to get Big Ten head coach of the year, as he should. It's well deserving. However, I want you all to consider thinking about another coach and what he's done. When I put up Matt Painter, the SID from Michigan hit me on my text. He was so upset. And I said, Tom, look, those that know. And you know what this cat sent me back?
What he said?
He sent me back a picture of us losing in the Final Four to Michigan. So I sent a text to Juwan. I said, Juwan.
Don't freeze.
I know, right?
Don't freeze.
There you go. All right, go back, Steve. You froze for a minute.
What you said, the text to Juwan?
He sent you a picture.
Oh, no, he said the guy sent me a picture, and it showed us losing to Michigan in the Final Four when I played, right? And so I was hot because I thought that was Bush League, right? And so I sent a text to Juwan. I said, Juwan, next time I see your SID, he's getting 50 to the head, no cover up. And so Juwan was like, oh, no, what'd he do? I was like, man, listen, Don't worry about it. But I'm just telling you, when I swing on him, you know why? Because I'm a hothead. And so I calmed down after that. And the dude was trying to be apologetic and all that. My dad reminded me, you got to work with these people. So don't slap him when you see him. Just, let it ride. So, yeah. So but that's how I feel about Matt Painter and Purdue. And unfortunately, they're in the same bracket with Baylor. I don't think they're dynamic enough to beat Baylor in a Sweet 16 matchup. But I tell you what, they'll throw a scare in them. Baylor's gonna be sick of seeing Big Ten teams because they're gonna have to get past Wisconsin. Then more than likely, I have them playing Purdue. If they get past them, guess who else they'll face?
Illinois,
Ohio State.
Yeah.
And I got Ohio State beating them in the Elite Eight.
Wow. There you go. Well, I can't let you go. We gotta know who's going. Oh, you told us who's gonna win. Illinois gonna win. All right. Yep. I know. We asked that question earlier. All right, we're out of time.
But let me say this real quick, Jake, Steve, real quick. I remember last time I saw you in Indianapolis at the Final Four. Ooh, you was balling. You had a whole area in the restaurant. Asked me if I wanted to have a Diet Coke with you. So appreciate you being on the show.
We appreciate it, Steve. Stay out of trouble down there in Indianapolis, man.
All right, guys. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Love you, bro.
Thank you so much, Steve. Coming up next, we're
Have
still
me on the
talking
stove.
basketball.
Bartle's breakdown. I'm coming on.
We're still talking basketball. We're doing basketball this whole show. Who's coming up next?
My girl, Brooke. Woo, she knows the game, Jay. Brooke is heavy.
Brooke Weisbrod, she's going to be joining us on What's Up, Cuz right after these commercial breaks. Stay tuned.
I'm Tina.
I'm Judith.
I'm Zelina.
I'm Candace.
And we've got your Women's History Blackstress Moment.
Adelaide Hall was born in Brooklyn, New York, October 20th, 1901. She made her debut performance in the musical Shuffle Along, and then went on to appear in more Black musicals like Running Wild and Chocolate Kitties, performing throughout Europe. In 1924, she married her British husband turned manager, Bertram Errol Hicks, and then decided to make London her home. Hall became a household name, performing on Broadway in Blackbirds of 1928 with Bill Bojangles Robinson. The show was soon picked up and produced in Paris, France, and ran for 3 months at the Moulin Rouge. As an accomplished vocalist, Hall was also known as introducing the classic jazz hit standard, I Can't Give You Anything But Love, Baby. Hall also performed at Harlem's famous Cotton Club and collaborated with Duke Ellington, penning the hit Creole Love Call. Hall owned her own club, had her own BBC radio series, making her the first Black artist to have a long-term contract with the BBC. She danced and she played the ukulele. In 2003, the Guinness Book of World Records cited Hall as the most durable recording artist, having released material spanning over 8 decades. Hall performed in Cole Porter's musical Kiss Me Kate in 1951, and in 1957, she performed in Jamaica starring Lena Horne. And in 1988, her one-woman show at Carnegie Hall was a sellout. She passed away in her home in London at the age of 93. Adelaide's father told her, "Sing to the moon and the stars will shine," and shine you did. Adelaide Hall, we salute you. This has been your Women's History Blackstress Moment.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my co-host and cousin, Lancey Irvin. We had Stephen Bardo from the Big Ten Network on, talking about Big Ten chances in this tournament. And now we're going to bring on our second guest. She is a reporter for ESPN. She is originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, and then she played at Coastal Carolina University. And guess what? She played 3 sports, dog. 3 sports at Coastal Carolina, man. Can you say Lance?
What she played, Jay?
I don't
She
even know
played
why.
basketball. What she
Played basketball. That was an obvious one. She played softball.
Come on, man. I knew 2 out of 3.
And then she also played tennis.
I tell you what, Brooke, and she's a great announcer too, though. But I knew she played basketball. I thought it was softball, but I wasn't sure about the third one. That's all right.
Yeah, man, she's a 3-sport athlete in college, man. That's pretty good right there. So we are glad to have her on. She's going to talk about some of the other teams that are not in the Big Ten, because everybody is thinking the Big Ten just going to run away with this. But she know about some of these other teams out there that are definitely a threat. We want to bring her on. Brooke Weisbrod. Brooke, how you doing?
Man, what's up, you guys? I love this show. There's like great energy here. Appreciate you, Lance. All right, great to meet you. Yeah, this is great.
That's my girl right there.
Appreciate
you. We appreciate you being on. Jason went deep. Softball, tennis, basketball.
He knew the stats. Somebody's reading the Wikipedia.
Well, you know, softball is my other sport that I used to coach. So, you know,
that's cool.
Yeah, I love my softball players. So glad to have you, Brooke. Let's jump right into this. Obviously, the picks are out for the men. The women's are going to be announced probably going on now. They get ready.
It did. Yep, I just finished watching the show.
Got you. So let's talk a little bit first about some of the men's teams that we didn't talk about with Steve. You've gotten a chance to cover a lot of these other conferences out here, the mid-majors. What are some of the teams in the mid-majors that we need to keep an eye on for this tournament?
You know, a great one to keep in mind, and I just had them, was Morehead State. They're a really fun team to watch play. They have this young guy. His name is Janai Broom. He's a freshman, and it's hard to explain his game because I don't know that I've seen anybody that really compares to it, but he is unguardable, not because he can jump out of the gym. He's not the most athletic guy. He's not incredibly fast, but he's patient, and he understands how to read the defense. And he makes the most out of a few moves and a few steps, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I think that I do see them getting past West Virginia, but I have San Diego actually knocking them out in the second round. But they're just a team that's fun to watch, and I think you should. Another team that I don't know a lot about personnel, but I grew up watching their head coach and playing against his sister in high school, and that's Pat Kelsey at Winthrop. Pat Kelsey was like Steve Wojciechowski. Like that's the closest comparison I feel like I can make. So passionate, so knowledgeable about the game. And so Winthrop might make it through to Baylor. I don't see them getting by Baylor though, like no chance. And then I don't know if really, Wichita State's not exactly a mid-major, but they're a fun story to watch and have literally fought through the American just to be considered to get to the tournament because they're one of many teams that kept getting affected by COVID schedules. So their story has been a lot of fun to watch as well. So keep your eye on Wichita State.
I was going to ask you about Wichita State, Brooke. Wichita State, they win their conference. They lose in the conference tournament. And it seems like they barely got into the tournament. And I think the AAC is a good league. Do you think they was probably slighted being one of the last teams to get in the to get in the tournament?
Yeah, I really didn't understand why the AAC was like not getting a lot of love this year. It was Houston and then like nobody else. And I disagree, just being around it and seeing it every single week. I mean, you had teams like East Carolina, sometimes playing so well that they could knock off a Memphis or a Houston. But to me, that league was pretty deep with Houston, with Memphis, SMU before they had their COVID pause, Wichita State, who to me, Wichita State is playing for something bigger than even just themselves and the team with the departure of Greg Marshall and like how he treated his guys on the way out. And now for Coach Brown to have taken over and they are playing for him just hearts out. Right. So I think they played so hard just to get that chance to be considered, like you said. But the Americans are a really good conference and Houston is very good. But I thought they should have, I think Memphis should have gotten in. I think it's crazy they didn't get in at large. It makes no sense.
You are reading my mind. My next question is going to be Memphis. Like they lost to Houston at the buzzer, it seemed like twice almost. Do you think Memphis should have got in? I thought Penny Hardaway did a really good job. Man, what's your thoughts on Memphis not getting in?
I don't get it. I don't know if there's something out there with unsettled business between in a conversation that hasn't happened between Memphis and the NCAA or Penny and the NCAA, but how they did James Wiseman last year, that they're not in the tournament this year. So Memphis takes Houston down to the wire. Houston, which is, they're a 2 seed. So Memphis takes a 2 seed down to the wire, but you're telling me they're not good enough to be in the tournament? At some point we have to take out some of the statistics and look at the story. Are you telling me people don't want to watch a Penny Hardaway coach team in the tournament? Are you crazy? Of course we want to see that. Make it happen.
I agree.
And you know what? Another team I think is Loyola. And Jason and I was talking about this yesterday. I was texting him. What's your thoughts, yo? You guys, Jay, you can chime in on the Loyola, Illinois potential second round matchup.
Yeah.
Loyola's good with Marcus Kennedy. They have Crawford, who was player of the year in the Missouri Valley. They're a well-coached team. Can they get past Georgia Tech? Maybe.
So,
I don't know. That's tough.
I do not have them getting past Georgia Tech.
Oh, what are you doing?
Sorry, Porter.
This is a Chicago show, Brooke. You're going to get us killed.
Let me go ahead, zoom in on Brooke, and let her talk. Come on, Brooke.
I know I'm in so much trouble. I know. I love Loyola Chicago. They're such a well-coached team. I think they got just a disservice by an 8 seed, honestly. But you're going to put them up against Georgia Tech of all teams, like the team that is just carrying on like such high chemistry right now. That's who you're going to put them up against. I've been a fan of Georgia Tech since last December. I had them in the Diamond Head Classic in Hawaii, and Jose Alvarado got up at it was like an 8:30, 10:30 a.m. game. So these guys are they're dragging, they're tired. But not Jose Alvarado. He came over in front of our call and was playing the guitar. He was so excited about a call, and I was like, "You're my dude. I'm riding with you. Whatever game you're playing, I'm with it." So
he has gotten better and better too, Brooke. He has gotten better and better too.
Yes.
Wow. So Brooke is, Sister Jean is gonna be mad at you. My goodness.
I know. I went to Catholic school. Like,
my goodness. Oh, Brooke is in trouble.
I know.
So so let's talk about potential stunning upsets, because those always come out of nowhere in the tournament, which is what makes it so great. So here's the one that I have, Brooke and Lance. I want to see how you all feel with this. I'm going to go with a big time stunner. We always know the 12-5, 2 of them are going to happen. But I've got a big one in the first round, and I want to hear your thoughts. I've got Colgate knocking out Arkansas.
Okay. I mean, just a feeling, or you have some intel? Because just a feeling is fine. I made myself pick in 10 seconds or less each one.
Let me say this, Jay. Colgate runs the Princeton offense, but Arkansas is really good.
But see, that's why I picked them, though, Lance.
They shoot at high clip.
They run that Princeton offense, and for some reason, when teams run that against some of these other up and down the court teams, if they can really control that pace and control the shot clock, it screws them other teams up because they're not used to playing against that style. So that's kind of like why I went with them, Colgate.
I'll tell you, Brooke, one game I've been looking at real hard is Georgetown versus Colorado.
Okay.
Georgetown has been playing well. They won 4 games in a row, which their team is starting to come together. Pat has them playing hard. So that's the one game I looked at where I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I love that one.
Anyone else you see, Brooke, that you might say?
Yeah. I think I think UConn's a team that's playing really well right now. And for me, I mean, I just don't even feel like this is such a brand name like Michigan State. I think Michigan State gets to the Sweet 16.
Whoa. So she's kind of agreeing with what Stephen said.
Yeah, you can't count out Sparty at tournament time. You just can't.
What's your thing? Why you say we can't count out Sparty, Brooke?
Because Michigan State is a team that finds a way to win at the end of the year. I don't know if it's something I can explain other than just what Coach Izzo is able to put together. But I feel like they are calmer once the tournament starts, and they just figure out ways to win. But I do love them and UConn in the Sweet 16, and then I have UConn moving on. Another team and this is just feeling because I caught barely any of the LSU game, but LSU I have going to the Elite Eight, and that was just feel.
LSU was smart. LSU has Wofford. They probably have 3 guys that can make some money in the NBA. Wofford had 30 last night. His brother used to play at Indiana for Tom Crean. LSU is a dangerous team. They have size. They athletic. They play fast. Their defense has been solid lately, so they have a chance. But I gotta ask you this. I asked Steve Bartle this same question, and you covered their league. What's your thoughts on the Illinois-Houston potential matchup?
Yeah.
The Illinois-Houston matchup is not going to happen. What's going to happen is going to be Georgia Tech and San Diego.
What?
Well, I'm glad I got you.
Wait, hold on. I know I'm not
Glad
wearing
you
my
on the
glasses
show.
today, but I don't even see this on my paper.
I'm glad you on the show.
Right.
Break
right.
that
This
down,
is
bro.
what I do. I love to literally like make some no-look passes and see if you guys.
Oh my God.
I don't know that I can totally explain it because again, I only gave myself 10 seconds to choose. And it was a feeling, it jumped out. I don't know what it was. I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't pick Illinois. I didn't pick Loyola. Like on the women's side, I better pick Northwestern or something.
You better not come to Chicago to do no games. These people gonna run you out of this city. You know we're a violent city.
I know, right? What am I
live in the city? Brooke lives in the city.
No, I'm not in the suburbs now. I'm not.
Why you out of your mind, Brooke? Oh my God, So you got Illinois getting knocked by Georgia Tech then?
Yeah, I'm on the Tech train. I am because I also say this. I was really not disappointed as in
Talk about Iowa. Talk about Iowa a little bit.
Wait, I just want to say like
the
way Illinois ended the game against Ohio State. I was like, I'm not feeling like clutch vibes here. You know, like I wish guys wouldn't try to be so Damian Lillard on the last second shot and maybe try to drive at 10 seconds and shoot at 6 and get an offensive rebound at 4 and then put it back in at 2. Can we do that instead of the 30-footer? Please. Thanks. All right, Iowa. I do like Iowa, but I feel like they're going to run into Oregon. Oregon's going to shoot the lights out. They're going to beat them with threes. Oregon moves on to the Sweet 16. So Oregon, Wichita State, and I'm going to give the Wichita State the edge just for fun. They're going to the Elite Eight as well.
You know what, Brooke? You sound like my cousin Jason. Jason will throw stuff out the air, and I'm like, Jay, what? So what's your Final Four, Brooke? Did you have before we I want to ask you something about women's basketball. But let me hear your Final Four real quick.
Sure.
And I'm gonna ask you, not real quick, and we come back to that if that makes sense, Jason.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Final Four. I have Gonzaga, UConn, Ohio State. I heard Stephen Bardo say Ohio State as well, so we're on the same page with that. And San Diego.
Wow. She going for that $1 million thing if you win all the picks in the Yahoo tournament thing.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So once again, we are being joined by ESPN's Brooke Weiss-Brode, who apparently hates all our Chicago teams, but that's okay. We love having our show on the show.
Good, maybe it'll be like opposite luck, you know, like I know Joe McEwen from Northwestern, he does not want me at any part of his broadcast because he's like, oh, for life. Every time I call a Northwestern game, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Joe told you that. Joe told you that.
No, but I feel it. We know. You guys keep track. Lance, don't tell me you don't know broadcasters' records. I know you do. Like, who's calling the game?
Love
Do we
it.
win when they call the game? We know.
Let's go over to the women's bracket. Obviously, just announced, so we don't have it in front of us. But I will say one of the things that shocked me was that Texas A&M got knocked out of their tournament in the SEC. I think they won the regular season crown, but then they got knocked by Georgia. It ended up being Georgia and South Carolina in the SEC championship. I still think Texas A&M is arguably the best team in the women's field. But I think South Carolina and some of them other SEC teams will have something to say about that. But I've got Texas A&M kind of winning it. What are your thoughts overall here on the women's bracket? I will try to pull it up on our computer to see what it looks like, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad choice, somebody in the SEC, considering you have them, South Carolina, and you just have Georgia. You got a lot of teams that are a tough out. Tennessee is playing well. But I think South Carolina has the potential to go up against a Florida State team that's been playing really, really well, playing inspired basketball. They're in the toughest region. I'm trying to remember. I think it's also Maryland and UCLA is also in that same region with Texas. So that one it's just tough overall. But NC State grabbed the number 1 seed. UConn, because UConn's going to be without Gino Auriemma for the first and second rounds now. That'll be interesting.
That's right. And you know what? This one thing about them, I think UConn has been playing real well. I think the young lady name is Buckner, if I'm not mistaken.
Paige Beckers.
But yeah, I watched her play. She seems like she can get a basket whenever she wants to. Is she really as good as I think she is? And also, after that, I think Kentucky has a young lady. I think Howard is really good too. So what's your thought about UConn and maybe Kentucky if you watch?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's start with Paige Beckers, the freshman. So I got a sense of what the next 4 years are going to be like. You know, hopefully she sticks around. It was in their game against Tennessee, and there's a couple minutes left. She rolls her ankle. She goes out for like not more than a minute, gets it taped, comes back in, hits the game-winning three. I was like, oh, she's different. You know, that was like Gino was like, get in the game. You know, he needed her in. And I love her energy, her confidence, but she's also she makes other teammates better already. And like Lance, you know, that's like the final step to a player's evolution. She's already there as a freshman. Ryan Howard is a one-on-one nightmare. Like she's going to get buckets in the league. She's going to make a lot of money someday. I don't know that there's no matchup for her. Like what kind of player do you put on her? Because you can't just put one.
Without a doubt.
She can score and also. So what about our local teams? You have my man Doug Bruno and DePaul, where they shoot a lot of threes. Right. So they've been normally in the tournament. That's when they play their best basketball. So talk to us about what you think about them, and maybe talk about Northwestern, because I don't want Joe going off on you.
There you go.
I know, right? I know. You know what? Remind me where DePaul is in the bracket, because I don't know that I maybe skipped through them too fast, but I do remember that Northwestern is in the bracket with the same bracket as Louisville. So that could be a really nice matchup because
Dana Evans at Louisville.
Right?
Dana is nice.
Yes, from Gary, right? She's from Gary, Indiana.
From Gary, Indiana.
Yep. She is such a tough player. And they have, a great freshman in Haley. Gosh, I'm blanking on the last name right now, but Haley Litt, I think. Haley Van Lith. She's just got so much toughness to her game, loves charges. And so that could be like a really, really good, I believe, second round matchup for those two teams. Northwestern, hey, if they can score like they did in the tournament, they're going to give some people some out and some trouble, because defense is not the issue with them. It's can they score. But DePaul you always love because they can get hot from the three-point line. Then they're a really hard team to prepare for, because all they do is run, they shoot threes. They're very much like a UConn style of play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see what they did with Texas A&M. They didn't even give them a 1 seed for region, which is kind of surprising. They gave them a 2.
They gave them a 2?
Yeah, they gave them a 2, and they made them 6 overall. Looks like they were 6 overall seed. That's kind of interesting. That's an interesting drop, seeing that, they kind of lost in their conference in the semifinal to a really good Georgia team. But okay, that's kind of what they went with. Okay.
NC State. They gave it to NC State.
Right, gave it to NC State. So let's talk a little bit more about DePaul and Doug Bruno in terms of kind of his legacy. Bruno has been there forever. He's always had competitive teams. The one criticism against Doug is that, his teams get to the tournament and never make it as far as people think they should. And obviously, DePaul's new AD made a move today and fired the men's basketball coach. Can't see him doing that to Bruno. But just what do you think about, how long do you think Bruno is going to stay there at DePaul, and what do you see for them in this year in the tournament?
Well, I think it's interesting that some people have the perspective that, how come he hasn't gone further? Because I look at what he does with the players he gets, because it's not like he brings in All-Americans, and it's not like he brings in like 6'8" kids. He turns 6'1" posts into double-double averages. He gets players to the league. I mean, look at Allie Quigley, what she was able to do in her career at DePaul. I think he is a player developer, and he overcoaches sometimes. Like, he gets the most out of his team. So to me, they're a perennial top 25 team. There's a lot of competition in the Midwest right around here. He's competing with the same players that are going to DePaul. he's trying to go after the Chicago kids that, out of state people are coming to get. So it's, it's tough. And what Doug does really well too is, look for players that are local and really work on developing their game, because he knows how strong the ties are to Chicago basketball. So, I mean, to me, I hope he sticks around for, another 5-10 years at least. The game has benefited because of what he adds and his love and passion for the game. I mean, there's very few people I enjoy sitting down to talk hoops with and, have a beer with than Doug. Like he's just great and he's got so much knowledge.
Brooke, do you think the women's game has been getting enough coverage lately? I think if I read correctly, all the games are going to be on cable this year. Do you think they have been getting a just due lately?
What's awesome is I just read where a couple games are going to be on ABC for the first time. So I was like, whoa, we are prime time. This is great. And I love the fact that they're on ESPN, because it makes it feel like you were a part of something from the beginning of the season. Now you can write it out and be, finish it out. That's what's so cool. The WNBA ratings were up, 30, 40, 50% from last year. So it tells you that people are interested in watching it. Do I think there's enough games on? No. I think you turn on any of the channels any given day, and it's probably 8 or 9 out of 10 are going to be men's games. And even when you're calling women's games, you're promoting men's games. So it's like, it's being more intentional. And, I honestly, I'd love to see a channel that just shows women's games. Like, I think that would do well. Me personally, I think it would be fine. And also you'd get such a difference in sports. Like you do basketball, volleyball, gymnastics, like pickleball, tennis, like you could do some cool stuff. So the answer is no, and it's getting better. I'm excited to see, but maybe not fast enough.
And I do have an update here that I just come across my screen. Obviously, we couldn't watch the bracket selection. DePaul did not make the tournament for women.
Wait a minute.
They are not in.
Wow.
Northwestern is in as a number, looks like 7. DePaul is not in.
I must have totally skipped over that. I
am looking at the bracket. I scanned it a few times, did not see them. And then the Chicago Tribune has posted it that they are not in. DePaul is not in. They are out.
Jeez.
Northwestern women get a 7 seed. DePaul women are out. That is they get snubbed.
That's a shocker. That is, I mean, you just assume they're in, right? Like you assume in a bracket like against like an A&M or somebody, wins the second round matchup. But oh my gosh, that's that's going to be short lived. It's no doubt they'll be back next year, but that's surprising to see the Blue Demons not in it.
Because I think they were like 16-7 or somewhere like that, and I heard rumors they might not. But
14-8 was their final record.
Because they've been here for 20 straight years. This season?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a streak. Jeez.
Wow. So what's your final four? We only have a couple of minutes left in this segment, it seems like, bro. What's your men's final four and who you taking? And if you want to do women, what's your women's final four and who you taking?
Yep. Well, I need to break down the women's bracket a little more. I do have, I got UConn winning this year. They're playing good ball. It's UConn this year. So on the men's side, I mentioned Gonzaga, UConn, Ohio State, and San Diego in my final four. I think it's Gonzaga and Ohio State in the title game. And I'm going with Gonzaga. They're going to complete a undefeated season. Their length on their perimeter is a nightmare. And they've got 3 guys who are leading them right now in a lot of different categories. They're good on defense. They're smart. They stay out of foul trouble. It's the Zags.
Wow.
Ooh, you going with the Zags.
Wow. Well, and we do have another Illinois women's team that did make the tournament, Bradley. Bradley did make it in.
Hey, that's right. Shout out to Bradley. I got a friend, assistant coach Lucky down there. So that's what's up, Bradley.
All right. So we got Bradley and Northwestern representing us on the women's side. DePaul, shockingly, not making the tournament. Brooke, tell everybody where they can find you online and how we can keep up with you.
Yeah. So I'll be hopefully getting my assignment at some point here pretty soon for the tournament. I'll put that on Twitter. I saw the handle earlier. So at Brooke Weisbrod on Twitter, at Brooke.Weisbrod on Instagram. And
just
hit me there. Appreciate you guys having me on. This has been fun.
We're going to pass that information. We're going to pass that information on to Sister Jean so she can let you do 400 Hail Marys.
Don't give her my number. All right? I don't need a phone call from Sister Jean.
You know what,
I need to go to heaven, y'all. Leave me alone.
You know, Brooke, and I want to thank you for being on the show, but also when you did our games a year or two ago, you were so nice to me and you're knowledgeable. So anything you ever need from me, call me. Let's stay in touch. If you want me to come on there and talk about your Final Four picks and how I disagree with some of your picks, let me know. But I appreciate you being on the show. We love your energy too today.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, that was awesome. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
was great.
She joins us here on What's Up, Cuz. Coming up next, Lance and I are going to go through our brackets and give some predictions. Oh, Lord, that's going to be I think Lance, Maya, and our new intern who's been sitting back in the background. We got an intern. Look at us, boy. We blowing up. We getting it.
We doing it.
Are we paying him or did we give him like a bottle of water or something? But we'll talk about him. He's coming up. Maya's going to join us, and you and I are going to talk about our bracket breakdown. You're watching What's Up, Cuz.
March is Women's History Month, and this year's theme is The Valiant Women of the Vote Refusing to be Silenced. It pays homage to the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote here in the United States. Please stay tuned to RainierAvenueRadio.world for shows and special programs highlighting and dedicated to honoring women on Women's History Month here. Please check us out at www.RainierAvenueRadio.world.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, we will march on till victory. We will march on till victory. Let us march on till victory is won.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, Lance C. Irvin. And
What up, cuz?
I'm doing good, cuz. But, you know, we never forget our roots. And, you know, obviously we played the Black National Anthem song a lot here on this show. And one of the reasons why is because that is the roots for the genesis of this show. We were created after the unfortunate murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Last year, and obviously this past week was the 1 year sad anniversary of Breonna Taylor losing her life. And at the same time, last week, jury selection began in the trial of Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was accused of murdering George Floyd. So we are a sports show, but we have not forgotten the social justice initiatives, which are the roots of how we created this show. And we are going to follow those cases all the way until the end as well. So they will be parts of our broadcast going forward. So we just want to remind our viewers and those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, that is a big part of why we are doing what we are doing. So wanted to say that. So let's talk. Let's talk brackets here. I've done mine. I know you've done yours. I don't know if Maya got a chance to do hers. I know she was really bad. Oh, she did. All right. So she's probably going to chime in here as well. So I'll say this right off the bat. It is scary how much Stephen Bardo and I have the same bracket. Like ridiculously scary, all the way down to the final four teams.
So
we're that consistently good.
What was your final four, Jay? Or you want to break it down first?
So I'll break it down. Maybe we should, Maya, you want to jump on and we can kind of give our final fours together. Is that a good way to do this? Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we'll do our final fours first. Here are my final four teams: Ohio State, Illinois, Texas, and Iowa.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was Steve's final four too?
It was pretty darn close. I don't think he had Iowa. No, because he had Gonzaga in the final. But we've got 3 out of the same 4.
Whoa. What you got, sis?
Well,
that's what looking like Maya.
I'm not sure what David's talking about. I drank the same Kool-Aid. Okay, David, whatever Kool-Aid you were drinking. Okay, so my final four, look, and this is where I'm not a homer at all. I watched Gonzaga several times, especially when they played Iowa. I legitimately, from back to front, they are just a well-rounded team offensively, defensively. They're long. They just have all the things you want. So I actually have them winning it all. But in my final four, and this is the one maybe where I'm being a little sentimental. I actually have Gonzaga facing off against Georgetown. I feel like the momentum that Georgetown has picked up late in the season, they've played so well. So there's something about when I was watching the tournament, I'm like, because March Madness is just that. It's one game every night, and if you come out and play your best game, that's it. So I have this odd matchup where I've got Gonzaga against Georgetown, and I think there's going to be a revisit of Ohio State against Illinois. I know people are like, you didn't put Iowa? No, because Iowa is late on getting their defensive game together. I made a comment. I'm like, if I could snag a couple of those Buckeyes and put them on the Hawkeyes for defense, we would be lethal. It's late in the game. And the thing is, defenses look a lot different, especially when you start playing outside of your conference. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, but that's my final four. I got Gonzaga against Georgetown, Ohio State, and Illinois meeting up again, and I fully believe it's going to be a different outcome.
All right. We'll give out some of our final picks next, too. Lance, go ahead with your final four.
Well, I'll take the Zags because, like I was telling Jason this year, if they and I hate using this cliche, but if they don't win it this year, with Timmy, Crispus, Suggs, I mean, they have everything you want. They have size, they have shoot, they have speed. But kind of like Jason said, they never seem to win it though. Like I thought it was been a couple of years. They should have won a national championship by now. So I'm picking them in the final four. I love my man Juwan Howard, Michigan, but I have to go with Alabama. Alabama is scary. My final four with Herb Jones, who was the player of the year in that league, offense and defense. They got Petty, who can shoot the three. They're long. They had Quigley as a point guard. So I think they're talented enough. They had a great year in the all-loaded SEC. They won the conference and they won the conference championship. Then I have Baylor. That defense travels. And they shoot that basketball from my man Freddie Mitchell to Butler, who is a walking bucket. And I'm from the state, but I didn't pick this team yet. But that Illinois-Houston game scares me.
Houston is not.
That scares me. Seriously, y'all.
Yeah, I waffled on that one a lot.
That scares me because I'm telling you, And y'all know, Coach, I love U of I. It's my team. But Houston, they're a different animal now. And like I said, the one thing about U of I that made me nervous when teams get physical against them, I think Trent Frazier is really good. I like all those guys, but that Houston team, that's a different animal in terms of physicality. They lead the country in most fouls. They lead the country now.
But isn't it interesting that almost everybody has in that Elite Eight Illinois versus Houston? That's interesting to me. Almost, that's like no matter how you had to navigate through your brackets, we all managed to get to that point.
Except Brooke, who picked San Diego State.
But the only thing about San Diego State, to me, San Diego State is really, really good, though. I think those Dutchers have been doing a great job.
I got them losing to Houston.
That West Virginia San Diego State game, West Virginia. Now, normally physical teams wear down the fast teams in the playoff games. Then it depends on officiating too, though. But I can see where she would pick San Diego State going a little ways.
Okay. I mean, it's of course it's madness. We've seen brackets get busted in the first game coming out the gates. So this is why there are major wagers that you don't even have to go to Vegas. You could just put a bracket and just try to win money because they know the odds of people really getting this right is almost impossible. But what is kind of reassuring is when you hear people kind of thinking the way you're thinking. Especially when let's be honest, we haven't seen all of these teams play. Like, think about it. I mean, we ain't seen Liberty play.
Right. And most of them play just a conference schedule.
I watch Liberty play, but that's what I do for a living.
Right.
So if I'm not watching like a majority of the games, then shame on me. I deserve to be a star.
Right. That's the point of us having you on this show.
Liberty, that's like y'all talking baseball and you talking hockey, Jay. Some of the stuff I expect y'all to know.
Okay.
But like you said, some of this stuff like the Oklahoma-Missouri game, that's a toss-up. Those are the same teams playing each other.
It's
like Zoe a little bit more physical, Missouri just a little bit more physical.
And it's really, I mean, it's interesting because you look at like, when Steven made the comment about Rutgers, then I had to go back and rethink that. I was like, and it's Clemson again. I was like, there's a fine line with these matchups. There really, really is. But of course, it's about who plays a absolute A+ game. That's what it comes down to. So it's interesting because I picked San Diego State getting past Syracuse. I mean, I've seen a couple games with them, so I'm like, okay, I don't know. This is why it's madness, folks. I don't know.
I think Illinois in that Oklahoma State game in the Sweet 16 with Cade Cunningham and Likely and the Boone brothers and those guys, that's athleticism aside.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You got Oklahoma State against Illinois. So do I. That's what this is crazy to me because you're like going,
right.
There's very few that anybody has said that there hasn't been some similarities. I was like maybe one or two things that Steven said that I was a little different. I'm like, well, let me reevaluate that because I kind of feel like he's more of an expert at it than I am.
Well, and that's the thing is, even the experts screwed us up.
Yeah.
And like my greatest memory of, the brackets and when they come out, was us actually all being over at your house over on Parnell, Lance, and everybody in the family got a bracket. Your mom got a bracket, your dad got a bracket, Nick got a bracket, Mike, Mac, Lance, Byron, Cindy. We all over there. We all got brackets, and we all arguing with each other. I got it. And by day 2, I'm calling the house. He's like, man, my bracket is through.
Busted. Straight out busted. I never thought about this. Maybe we should do a SportsZone Chicago.
There you go.
Good idea.
There you go.
Bracket contest. I'll set that up after the show. Use a Yahoo has you can join. Just you can create a group and then just.
I agree.
Just for the
because I can't wait to see what the smoke fellas done put in there.
But Jay, let me ask you this too: why Texas though? Tell me why you picked Texas.
I think for the same reason that Bardo has said, Texas play in a good conference. They play in a Big 12 conference. They play in a top-heavy conference. And when I look at their schedule. I think Alabama is definitely going to be, a threat, but I think they can beat Alabama. Alabama got pushed to the buzzer yesterday against LSU. LSU probably should have won that game. So I think Texas is really going to be strong. I think, they're going to beat Michigan State. I think they're going to beat Albany Christian, obviously. I've got them beating Alabama, though, and that's the key game. And then I think they can beat Michigan because I think I hate to say this. But
don't just hate it. Just say it.
I think Illinois' fan base really got in Michigan's head when they told them you're really not the Big Ten champs. I think that did something to them. These are college athletes. These are young men. You know, they all on social media. They all get caught up in this stuff. And I actually think the Illini Nation fans got in Michigan's head.
But wait. It started when Ohio State got in that ass. Let's just start with that. That's where it started. When they they walked in like, watch me work this, watch me whip and they you. Yeah, and it was like, whoa. And then they saw Illinois come out and just play so dominant. But Ohio State was right there. They made some mistakes in the last 2 minutes. And one of the things that Brooks said that I'd agree with is stop trying to be Damian Lillard. I felt the same way. Like, look, work your clock. That's when you know that certain players don't have great basketball IQ. Because I was like, the way they were playing is like, finally towards the end of the game, people were thinking about second chance shots and actually blocking out and trying to get rebounds. Most of the game, everybody was shoot and run. I was like, do we not block out anymore and try to get second chance offensive shots? I mean, is that just a fundamental thing that we've gotten away from? But I agree with her. I think they didn't settle down until it was like right down to like the final minutes. Ohio State made some mistakes, but they played amazing. Seriously amazing.
And you know, a lot of this stuff comes down to matchups. And like you said, that's why it's so hard to pick. Because I think when U of I beat Michigan the way they beat them, I thought Michigan didn't use their strength. Michigan's strength to me is on the inside with Big Dickinson in there. You had Levers was playing back then. I didn't think they pounded them inside like they should have. So I thought Illinois used their speed to beat Michigan during that game. So I thought that's a bad matchup for Michigan because DeMonte Williams played well that day. They were hitting on all cylinders. And I think Trent Frazier doesn't get enough credit for what he does for that team.
I agree.
That's a good team. And even Maya, like you said, I think Iowa was very good. I see one thing about Iowa though, Iowa has shooters. Bohannon can shoot. Wieskamp can shoot, if I'm pronouncing his name right. So that's a scary matchup too. And and you know what? When Iowa needs to get a basket, they're not shooting jump shots. Right. We all know where that ball is going.
Well, yeah, but it's also because they get pushed into that role. I mean, you can't live and die by the three. That's just the bottom line. And I think they're starting to make the adjustments to the physicality that they've seen all year, because it's only going to get worse in the tournament. So now they're learning, like, look, you have to establish yourself, just like we're talking about in football. You must establish the run for the passing game to open itself up. They're finally accepting that you must get in the post and battle things out. You can't that's just it. And they can't be just Garza being the only person doing it. And they've made that adjustment. The question is, did they make it too late? And can they do that throughout the tournament? I mean, I have them going to a certain point, but I'm like, I just feel like you hit a brick wall at one point. But we'll see. I mean, if they don't, guess who's not going to be upset about it? I mean,
all right. Let's get to our semifinal pick. So we've got our final four. Let's see who we all have going in the championship game. I'll go first. I have Iowa and Texas playing against each other in the first semifinal. And I have Texas winning that game. I have Texas winning that game. And then in the second semifinal, I have Ohio State against the Fighting Illini. And I have Ohio State winning that game, Lance. So my national championship game, I have Texas against Ohio State. Lance, your semifinal winners, please, sir.
If I had to choose right now, which I am, it might change after I think about it. I have Gonzaga against Alabama in the one semifinals, and I have Baylor against Illinois.
All right, and your winners of those games?
I'm gonna wait. Well,
this is the time you got to. You can't wait.
Gonzaga against Illinois. I cannot pick against. I cannot pick against my man Io. If I picked against Io and H Wolf guys I coach, man, they would disown me.
They would.
I have to go against.
And they probably wouldn't come on our show either.
I know, that's why it's so hard. That's why I'm not going.
Way to be political, Lance. You gotta.
I gotta be political. I can't, because they called me out on it. Like I said, so you know, now I might have another advanced sheet. I might show you my other sheet.
And I know people like that too, who got their sheet and then they got like a backup pick'em sheet. And I'm like, you can't have more than one sheet.
Like your cousin Mac is going to have him. He's going to play and send in 5 sheets. He's going to have 5 different sheets. You have 5 sheets. He said the 5 different sheets here.
And one of them he gonna have done after the first round games.
This sheet going to SportsZone zone. This sheet going to Jason's bracket pool. This sheet going on Bardo's breakdown.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right. And now let's get to who we have winning our championship here. Let's see who we have. So I obviously have Texas and Ohio State. And I hate to say this, it's the national champions. Oh, wait, Maya's back. Sorry, who are your semifinal winners, Maya?
I had to switch over because I hadn't physically printed out my bracket.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
So I was reading them off the screen. You're talking about my Elite 8, who I got going there?
No. We're in the semifinals.
Okay.
We want to know who of your final 4 teams, which 2 are going to the national championship.
Oh, okay. For me, I took that, and now I feel like I got to think more about this. I have Gonzaga and Illinois. That's what
Okay.
I did my score. I predicted my score as well.
Okay.
I got 82.
Interesting.
I got 82-79. That's what I got the score at.
Wow. All right. So now we're down to our national championship picks. My national championship for 2021, and they are getting an asterisk, as every other team is during the COVID phase. The 2021 asterisk national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Ohio State Buckeyes.
It's interesting. I mean, after how I watched them play in the Big Ten tournament, I was like, wow, I still got time to work with this. I still got time to think about this bracket. I picked Gonzaga, though. I just feel like from pillar to post, they are a complete team. Like, they're the team I didn't have to look at and say, wow, I didn't know you were that good. Like we're saying with Ohio State, we're going, whoa, where did this come from? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you look at Gonzaga and you know they have been consistently the same team, and they have something to do in the history books, not just be undefeated. You know what I'm saying? But this is the asterisk, like this is the explanation point behind their season, is actually winning the national championship. That's within itself. I just think they're probably so. But again, this is March Madness. We saw what happened to Arizona a couple years ago. So you know.
All right, Lance, who you got? Who you got in the national? Who you got?
Okay. A lot of the top teams that Gonzaga played, they beat those teams by double figures.
They beat the brakes off them.
They beat the brakes off. So I'm
Lance, before you make your final pick, we got to post something here.
Post something so I can.
Michael Berger says, "Stay loyal to the brand, Lance."
I'm gonna do what they call in government, Maya and Jason. I'm about to do a filibuster. So I want to answer this question. So, I think that'll be a really good game. See, I got Berger saying, "Tell me stay true to the brand." Oh boy. Whatever your mind said, that's what I'm going with. I'm staying true to the brand, but that Gonzaga, you a right game.
Okay. Woo, Maya, who you got winning it all? You said Gonzaga, right?
I said Gonzaga, 82-79.
All right, you got Gonzaga. Lance is staying loyal to the brand.
I'm filibustering like a good politician.
He's picking Illinois because he's staying loyal to the brand. And I'm going with the Ohio State Buckeyes. So we got 3 different picks. So that's quite interesting. But hey, let's bring in our intern. We got an intern for our show, Lance. He is a intern and a producer and trainer. Our guy Greg, he's been laid back in the background watching the show. He's going to take a more active role in the show going forward. And first of all, Greg, let's ask you the 2 most important questions that we've had on this show today. And remember, you're an intern, and I'm the main host of this show, so answer correctly.
Make sure you think wise now.
Who won the battle between Lance and I on if the athletes should be?
Well, let's bring it back. Hold on.
Yeah,
let's bring it back.
Our jump ball question.
And realize I'm the oldest, and he used to call me when he used to get in the skirmishes. Now.
I'm the one who talked the most, though, on the show. So our jump ball question from earlier today was, should the athletes, coaches, and referees participating in the men and women's basketball tournaments be considered essential workers and given the COVID-19 vaccine? Greg, the intern, your answer.
Think hard now.
I wrote it earlier. I said they should.
Good job.
I'm gonna give you 60 seconds. I'm gonna give you 60 seconds to really think about this, Greg.
Yeah, come on.
The reason I said that they should is because they have so much time and effort they put into doing the bubble And like they did with the gentleman in the NBA, they were able to monitor and keep these guys under wraps. So the bubble with the NBA was successful. So if they can do the same thing for college and going separate from last year when they didn't have any March Madness, this is something that would ensure that it goes according to plan. So I think they should count them as essential, but also look at the NBA model of last year's bubble and see how successful it was.
So this makes it 4-4?
Yeah, it's a tie.
Well, he said stay in the bubble. Then he said get a shot. I don't know what he's trying to say.
He said take the shot. He said he was for it.
Yeah,
Why you need a shot if you in the bubble?
Well, I guess I have to be the tiebreaker then.
Just to guarantee it. Just to guarantee that no one catches it.
Why is the tiebreaker?
Everyone's under wraps.
Here's how I see it. I would not say they're essential workers, because people get in their feelings about that type of language. Okay. So I will not say they're essential workers, but I would say it's worthy of giving them the vaccine, because right now, if there were students on campus, universities would be vaccinating students like they do for meningitis and other things. So it's something a university would do. I remember when I was in college, there was an issue with meningitis, and they got every 28,000 people vaccinated. I was like, and it was for real. Don't show up to class. Excuse me, your name is not checked off the list. You can leave and go get your meningitis shot. Seriously. So because universities, even from a student body standpoint, would be doing vaccinations, I say you vaccinate them. It's a good thing to do, unless they don't want it. It's their choice if they don't want it, according to QAnon Joe. But I'm going to break it and say you vaccinate them, but not because they're essential workers, because it's the right thing to do.
All right. So there you go. I win. Doggone it.
You know what?
We got a trophy after this week or something.
The tournament must go on. It must go on.
Gotcha.
Greg, last year.
You know
Greg,
what?
our second question for you. We got a couple minutes left in the show. Do
you
you have a Final Four already? And who do you have winning?
Yes. My Final Four would be a surprise.
Okay.
But to match the year that they've had in the Big Ten, I got 3 Big Ten teams making it with Gonzaga.
Whoa. Okay, so who?
Ohio State, Michigan, U of I, and Gonzaga.
Okay. Very
and
good.
then final, I got Gonzaga and Illinois.
And then?
I think Gonzaga is going to beat U of I. I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll go all the way. Gonzaga's tough. Like Maya said, you, Lance, Jace, you guys know Gonzaga has a complete team. They have guards. They're well coached. They have experience. They don't beat themselves. And that's what scares me about U of I. They sometimes can make mistakes and beat themselves.
Well,
like yesterday, they were up by 17.
But I want to say something that's funny, and Bardo said it about the weakness of Io. And the thing is, I was in a chat group with people, and everybody was talking about it like, he just can't go left, seriously. If it's been noticed by Bardo and other teams, you better believe they're going to push that to make that a bigger weakness for him.
But let me tell you,
the last team that America watched before the brackets came out, so everyone's going to expect certain things Illinois did. They're going to scout them. Everyone watched them yesterday, so they know weaknesses and strong points, so they had all eyes on them yesterday.
Lance?
It could be a bad thing and a good thing.
that man is savvy enough to know how to get back to that right. 1, 2 left, and he's savvy enough. That pull-up going left is better.
Only if I let you get there. That's the thing. That's and you talk about, because Ohio State's defense was stifling. At one point, I was like, they don't play.
Right.
I'm like, for real. I was like,
Washington,
and I saw that, in the Michigan game, and I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that their defense is serious business.
Well, and for me, and I had 2 reasons. Well, one reason I didn't have Gonzaga getting to the Final Four is, I have this thing a lot of times when you've had squads and you ain't been able to do it, now you got to prove it to me. And that's kind of how I feel about Gonzaga. That's why I got them getting knocked against Iowa.
Stop right there, my friend.
I think that's
30 seconds. So
how many times did UCLA go without winning it until they finally won it?
Well, they've at least won it before in the history of the school, for the love of God. Gonzaga ain't
times before they won it.
And the only other thing I'll say about Illinois, which could possibly be a weakness, is there are times during the game when calls don't go their way, they start crying with each other. And the other team start making a run because them and their coaching staff is bitching about calls. If you watch their game, And I think that's what Greg is talking about. They have an ability sometimes to start beating themselves when they get caught up in the emotions of the game and worrying about the referee.
Frustration. Yep.
So, all right, we're done here. What a great show, man. We talked all basketball. I think it was the first time we ever just talking about one sport the whole show. But we got a surprise for you next week. Lance and I may be together because we've gotten our shots.
Shots. No, I'm just kidding.
So we will possibly be together. You and I and Joe definitely won't be there since he won't get no shot. But Lance and I will probably be together in the same place for the first time in God knows how long doing.
I love me some Maya, boy.
So for my guy, for our intern Greg, for my crazy country Lance C. Irvin, I'm JC. Thank you for watching What's Up, Cubs. We'll see you next week with more.
Remember the bracket, Mike. Remember the bracket.
What is it, Maya? Shot.